Right, today is Sunday, 8th of April, 2018. So we'll look at a new sutta from SD 45.15, 15th chapter of SD 45, Hati Gamaka Uga Sutta, the discourse to Uga, or the discourse on Uga also can, of Hati Gamaka. We have a few people by the same name of Uga, which is quite a common name. Uga means big in the sense of fat, so probably that is his size. And he lives in this place called Hati Gamaka, which translates basically as elephant village. A 8.22, Anguttara, chapter, the book of 8, Sutta 22. This is on the 8 qualities of a layman non-returner. So it's very interesting here. We don't often get layman, a lay person who is a non-returner. Usually we hear of lay people keeping the precepts, maybe at best becoming stream winners. And then once returners, you don't hear many once returners even. But here we have non-returner. So this sutta gives us some idea what a lay non-returner would be like. Usually, if you look at the structure of Buddhist soteriology means salvation plan, if you like, how Buddhists are liberated, we have stream winner, once returner. Okay. You can say these two are plans for lay people. If you, as a lay person, you go on reflecting on impermanence, you keep the precepts well, you keep yourself mindful, you don't need deep meditation, and you do that regularly in this life itself, you will attain stream winning, or as Sutta Anicca Cakku Sutta S 25.1 says, if you don't get it in this life, definitely at the end, when you're passing away, you will be reborn as a stream winner. On the other hand, you have non-returner arahat, so it's a bit more demanding. The main problem here is because this second plan, non-returning and arahathood, you have to let go of sensuality, specifically sexuality, if you like. Here, it's nothing to do with whether sex is good or bad. It's the idea that senses control us very much. We are defined by our senses. So much so that this is called the sense world, because we are dependent on the 5 senses: eye, nose, tongue, body, and of course the mind decides everything. So we are living in the sense world, right? So the first five fetters hold us back in the sense world. Okay, so we enjoy sensual pleasures. We like seeing things, hearing things, smelling things, eating things, and then feeling, and so on. So the non-returner overcomes his attachment to sensual desires. In other words, so he will not have any more feelings for sexuality. He won't be using money, things like that. So you can imagine the situation of a stream winner as a layperson. A non-returner for a layperson is quite tricky. Of course, there is another sutta called the Majjhima, this Gatikara Sutta, all right, where Gatikara is also a non-returner. He takes care of his blind parents, and he doesn't use money. He's a potter. He makes pots and he exchanges his pots for food, right? And he's able to support the Buddha at that time, Kassapa Buddha, and the whole Sangha. And so here we have a kind of a normal lay person, Hati Gamaka Uga, who is a non-returner too. So let's see what the Buddha has to tell us about this very wonderful kind of person. Now, Uga was, or if you talk about historical present in terms of the sutta, he is a layman, a kind of a house, we call a house lord. In other words, he owns land, he owns a house, he's quite well-to-do. And listening to the Dhamma, he becomes a non-returner. Okay? So the Buddha basically is addressing the monks. Says, you make sure you know this layman is very special, and his name is Uga. So let's look at the translation on page 133. The discourse to Uga, or I think it's better to translate the discourse on Uga, because in the first part you don't see Uga being spoken to. The Uga is being spoken about. The Buddha is presenting Uga to the monks. Okay, section 1. At one time, the Blessed One was staying in Hattigama in Wajji country. Right, so this is the home village or hometown of Uga. There, the Blessed One addressed the monks thus: Bhikshus, remember Uga, the house lord of Hattigama. Oh, by the way, Hattigama is the name of the village, so Gamaka means of the village, okay? As one accomplished in 8 wonderful and marvelous qualities. Okay, the Buddha has this very interesting habit sometimes of just making a short statement. That's all he said. In this sutta, this is the only line that the Buddha says until the conclusion of this. Bhikshus, remember Uga, the house lord of Hattigama, as one accomplished in 8 wonderful and marvelous things. The Blessed One said this. Having said that, the Blessed One rose from his seat and entered his residence, entered his little cell, okay? And that's all. Okay? So basically, he's telling the monks, just remember this man. Okay, so one monk was diligent. He did something about it. Okay, let's look at the next section. Then early in the morning or at dawn, a certain monk, having dressed himself, taking rope and bow, went to the house of Uga, the house lord of Hattigama, and sat down on the prepared seat. Then Uga, the house lord of Hattigama, approached the monk, saluted him, and sat down at one side. So here, the impression we get is that as a non-returner, Uga naturally would be very kind and generous, so he probably offers alms every day, and there is a place or places in his house where at least one monk can come, and he'll be giving food to this monk. So every day, a certain monk would come. So they will take turns. This is sometimes called a ticket meal. In other words, if there are a lot of monks, this monk there will be draw lots, so that particular monk will go to Uga's house to receive alms. So this monk did just that, but he did something more. He applied, put into practice what the Buddha has advised. The monk, so then Uga, the house lord of Hattigama, approached the monk, saluted him, and sat down at one side. I suppose this is at the end of the meal. Okay, the meal is over, so we're not told about the meal, but probably the monk has taken the meal. Otherwise, Uga would not be talking to him, or the monk would not be talking. So the monk said this to Uga, the house lord Hattigamaka. House lord, it has been declared by the Blessed One that you are accomplished in 8 wonderful and marvelous qualities. What, house lord, are the 8 wonderful and marvelous qualities that the Blessed One has declared that you are accomplished in? Right. So this monk doesn't know what the Buddha meant. So he asks, what's the Buddha talking about? Now, Uga replies, 4.2, says, Bhante, I do not know what the 8 wonderful, marvelous qualities that the Blessed One has declared that have been accomplished by me. But Bhante, these are the 8 wonderful and marvelous qualities that are found in me. Listen, Bhante, pay close attention, I will speak. All right, so here we have an interesting situation. The Buddha didn't say exactly what those 8 qualities are. He instructs the monk, says, make sure you know this man, this layman, Uga. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the Buddha really doing here? He's giving instructions. So this is something like teaching by proxy, So he tells the monk, okay, this wonderful layman, Uga, has got 8 qualities. Basically, he's saying, go and find out. He didn't say that, but of course it's obvious. And goes to Uga and says, the Buddha says you have 8 qualities. But then Uga tells the truth. He says, I don't really know what the Buddha is thinking about, but I can tell you these are the 8 qualities I know I have. Now, at the end of the sutta, you begin to see the 8 qualities of Uga, and what the Buddha has in mind are the same. Of course, I'll explain to you what's the significance of that in a moment. Okay, so here is the style of teaching. See, it's as if the Buddha is saving his breath, so to speak. He says, "Why don't you go to Uga? He's going to give you some instructions, 8 things, all right?" So the monk goes there and he listens. Okay, 8 things. So and notice here, what's interesting here is it is Uga who tells the monk, "Listen, Bhante, please pay close attention, I will speak." Usually it's the Buddha who says this, but here you have a layman telling the monk, "I'm going to give Dhamma, get ready, okay?" So here you might ask, "Hey, isn't this a layman? Why is he talking to teaching a monk, This reminds me recently, there was this rather nasty young novice. It's not even a monk, it's a novice, it's a foreigner. I think he's not too happy with some of the things I wrote on Facebook because he thought I was being think about something nasty word, patronizing maybe. So he's saying, why do you write such things? You're only a layman, why were you telling us monks what to do, and what are you yourself doing about it, So I said, well, this is what I'm doing. You can see on my whole Facebook. So I said, if you're a novice, you should be undergoing training. You should not be on Facebook and quarreling with people. So here, in other words, this novice has no training yet, so he doesn't know how to relate to lay people, to others. Normally, one of the first basic rule of a monk in public is to be friendly with others. You don't quarrel people. Even if someone is nasty, you just you don't respond, you kind of be nice, lots of metta. So it can be revealing once you see this kind of behavior. So in other words, for example, the novice doesn't know the sutta where you have this layman who's instructing a monk. But this layman has, in a sense, have every right to instruct this monk for at least 2 reasons. Number 1, the monk asks him, the Buddha says something, okay, I'm asking you now. And number 2, there are a few other reasons, but number 2, I think the second one is good enough. He is a non-returner. In other words, he belongs to the Arya Sangha. He is a member of the noble Sangha. Right? He is a member of the natural community of saints. So spiritually, he's more advanced even than this monk who's questioning. So it is proper that this monk learns from him. Now you have another saint, a layman saint, it is Chitta, the house lord. So he also often instructs the monks, and he's very wise. He's the wisest of the lay disciples. All right, so here Uga says, all right, I will tell you the 8 qualities. And then the monk says, yes, house lord, replied the monk in essence, to Uga, the house lord of Hati Gamaka. Then the teaching starts. Now remember, although we said Uga is giving this teaching, ultimately on a Dhamma level, it is the Dhamma. When we speak something proper, it's the Dhamma. It's not my teaching, your teaching. It's the Buddha's teaching, so to speak. That is why it behooves us. We are duty-bound, in a very important sense, to make sure we know the suttas, we represent the Buddha properly, we say what we know. I mean, you don't have to know everything, but if you know something very clearly, a simple teaching, a simple set, you can still say it. And you are representing the Buddha, you are conveying the Dhamma. And that's a very wonderful thing to do because you bring happiness to others. And this is the best gift you can give to people. You notice sometimes people have issues, have problems, they have doubts, they have fear. And then someone comes along and say, okay, don't worry, this is a situation, like this, like that. And then this person feels very good after that. That's the most wonderful gift you can give to that person. And what better gift than if you know the Dharma and you know the right thing to say, how to say it, when to say it. So that's the meaning here, giving respect to the Dharma and also respect to the audience. So Uga begins his teaching. Section 4.4. Uga, the house lord of Atigamaka, said this: Bhante, I was wondering about carousing in the Nagawana. Now, Nagawana can be translated simply as elephant forest. When I first saw the Blessed One from afar, with that very vision of the Blessed One, faith arose in my heart and my drunkenness vanished. The Buddha is definitely a really amazing person. I mean, this drunken man sees the Buddha, he becomes sober. Okay? So that's wonderful good karma kind of ripening. This Bhante is the first wonderful and marvelous quality of mind. Right? So here you see, in other words, these 8 qualities tell us about the conversion of Uga, how he became a saint. Beginning from first time he's meeting the Buddha, he was enjoying himself. He's a rich man, he's in the forest, carousing, and he was drunk. He just needs to see the Buddha. Now remember, seeing the Buddha, what are we talking about here? The Buddha is very calm and peaceful, radiant personality. So when Uga sees him, something happens. You may wonder, you say, how does this work? Not difficult, really. My favorite imagery is, think of your favorite movie actor. Some people are crazy of those K-pop stars, you know. Or I don't know, who's your favorite movie actor? Imagine you see him in real life, you know. I don't know, some people say, oh, my feet are getting wobbly or whatever. You get this sense of a connection, if you like. Okay, now we're talking about a worldly person here. Of course, there are those who see spiritual people. We love to be near people we see as spiritual. But we don't really know who's spiritual, who's not. You know. But if you see the Buddha, you can sense in a very powerful way that this is a very peaceful person. Asaji is another example. The wanderer Sariputta looks at Asaji and he said he could see Asaji so peaceful. So this idea of inner peace is very important. And not just the Buddha has this quality. If you cultivate loving kindness after meditation, especially with loving kindness, you find it's so easy for you to exude that kind of peace that a lot of people can connect with. People feel good with you. They feel confident with you. And you basically look happy. And you stay happy for the rest of your life, so to speak. And the side benefit is, in a sense, you age also more slowly, so to speak, right? But the important thing here is, Uga sees the Buddha and he sees spirituality. He sees peace. And his karma ripens. Now that is why, another important issue, wherever we go, especially when you know Buddhism, you have that touchstone, if you like, or the philosopher's stone that can change people's lives, sometimes by just uttering a simple line, like you can say, the Buddha says everything is impermanent. And then someone say, yeah, you know, where did you learn this? So you struck a chord in someone. Just by saying that, you can change people's lives. Yesterday I was at this seminar, you know, this Exploration in Faith seminar on faith and art. So I was asked to speak a bit about Buddhist art and so on. And a lot of people they really liked it because they came to me at the end of the seminar and they said, wow, you know, these are interesting things you have told us. And even Christians from some of those, what to say, those very close churches, Protestant churches, so on. Even a few of them came to see me, and they're very open. And I'm surprised that they're even willing me to give me their emails and so on. In other words, they want to keep in touch. They never heard of Buddhism like this. They say, wow, is Buddhism so happy, so filled with art and so on? I say, oh, Buddhism is much more than that. So we have struck a chord there. We have somehow connected. That's how we do it. I mean, you don't have to go into big missions and give them nice books. I actually brought some books with me, but I just forgot to give it to them. So you should always be ready and willing and able to communicate the Dhamma in simple ways. You may communicate in simple ways, but the Dhamma is never simple in that sense. It will strike this person very deeply. Maybe not immediately, but in good time. So in the case of Uga, the moment he sees the Buddha, his life changes just by seeing darsana. Okay, so for that reason also we have Buddha images which are depicted as very peaceful, because these Buddha images are kind of reminders for us to meditate, to experience, enjoy inner peace. Right? So this is still the first quality. Then number 2, now Bhante, with faith in my heart, I attended to the Blessed One. The Blessed One gave me a progressive talk. All right, so here we see Uga as having strong faculty of faith. Here, faith meaning he has built up some really good roots from past experiences with the Buddha or with the Dhamma. So because of his faith, the Buddha is able to teach him very easily. The Buddha gave him a progressive, gradual talk. That is to say, he spoke on giving, on moral virtue, on the heavens, that means good karma, and explained the danger, the vanity and disadvantages of sense pleasures, and the advantages of renunciation. So, what's the Buddha talking here? The Buddha is teaching something. We don't know exactly what the Buddha said, but he said something that's enough for Uga to understand and accept. Notice the sequence here: giving, moral virtue, right? So giving is very easy to do, right? We are generous, that creates good karma, but that's not enough. You need to have moral virtue. So giving, moral virtue together ensures a happy life, rebirth, so that you can continue practicing your spiritual cultivation. Now, if you only give but you don't keep moral virtue, you remember in one of the suttas, Saddha Janusoni Sutta, where the person is very generous but he doesn't keep precepts and is reborn as a pet. Someone takes care of him, loves him, but still it's an animal. So precepts is a kind of quality preserver. It gives us that basic human quality. It keeps us human, in other words. So otherwise we fall below the human state. It also can bring us heavenly happiness, divine happiness. And that tells you the third one is called the heavens, a happy life again. And then the Buddha goes into something more serious, the danger of sense pleasures. Basically, sense pleasures are impermanent, don't get caught up with them, things like that. And then he talks about renunciation. So notice the Buddha is teaching a layman renunciation. In fact, the latest long reflection I wrote on my Dhamma Facebook is entitled Lay Renunciation. So nekkhamma. Okay, so here you can say another way of looking at Buddhism in terms of practice is renunciation, nekkhamma, letting go. We have to let go of greed, of hatred, of delusion, right? So you don't need to be a monk to do that. Even as a layman, we learn to let go of this. So that letting go is renunciation. When we meditate, what are we doing? We are going deeper into the act of renunciation. The first is we renounce the five senses. We close our eyes, we sit very still, the body is very calm. We don't eat anything, we just breathe in, breathe out. We don't bother about sound. All the five senses are let go of. And then when we are very still, we see directly into our minds. So then on a higher level, we renounce defilements and so on. So here the Buddha is preparing Ugga. He says, let go, renounce. 6. When the Blessed One knew that my mind was prepared, pliant, free from obstacles, elevated and lucid, then he explained to me the teaching peculiar to the Buddhas. That is to say, suffering, its arising, its cessation, and the path. All right, these are the Four Noble Truths. So this is called the teaching model of the Four Truths, ending with the path. The older model ends with cessation, with nirvana itself. All right, so here's the teaching because the Buddha will say, okay, this is suffering, then suffering arises from craving, and then number 3, there's nirvana. Then you practice the path. Okay, so this is called the teaching model, whereas it's a practice model rather. The teaching model would be you have the truth of suffering, the arising of suffering, then the ending of suffering is nirvana. The path to ending of suffering, and then nirvana. So nirvana comes last. Okay, so this is the older model, not much used in the later suttas, but it is found in 1 or 2 suttas. So here you have the practice model, where when you're going to practice, you do this. So here, in other words, the Buddha prepares the mind of Ugga to clear away, to let go of the world. Then the mind temporarily overcomes the mental hindrances. Then the Buddha teaches the Four Noble Truths. In other words, the Buddha just needs to list the Four Noble Truths, and it becomes very clear in the mind of Ugga. 6.2, and just as a clean cloth with all its stains removed would take dye, even so, while right there on my seat, there arose in me the dust-free, stainless Dhamma eye, or vision of truth. Thus, what is of the nature of arising, all that is the nature of ending. What arises will fall away. Now, sometimes you hear people say, what goes up must come down, right? It is a more kind of worldly or secular way of saying this. So when you hear what goes up must come down, you should be reminded of this wonderful teaching of rising and falling of things, of conditionality. Now, these are quotes. The moment you see Dhamma eye, you know Ugga has attained stream winning, okay, with this teaching. 6.3, then I, having seen the truth, won the truth, knew the truth, plunged into the truth, crossed over doubt, abandoned uncertainty, one who has gained self-confidence in the teacher's teaching, one independent of others, right there, went to the Buddha and the Dhamma and the Sangha for refuge. Okay, so this whole paragraph talks about stream winning. Okay, so then he goes for refuge to the Buddha as a stream winner. So this is the real going for refuge. 6.5, I understood the 5 training rules. Okay, so he accepts the 5 precepts, but something else. He says, I undertook the 5 training rules with the celibacy rule. In other words, he decides not to have anything to do with sensuality and sexuality. This, Bhante, is the second wonderful and marvelous quality of mind. Right, so second story is about how he attained sainthood, became a stream winner, and yet feels strong enough to take up the celibacy rule. He's not going to have sex anymore. He's not going to enjoy sensual pleasures anymore. He's going to live happily as he is. Because by now he must have seen this higher joy. In order to give up that lower bodily pleasure, you have to experience some higher joy. Right, so he does that. Then now come the social aspect, section 7. This is a third quality. There are these 4 young lordly wives of mine. Then I, Bhante, approached these lordly wives and said to them, Sisters, I have undertaken the 5 training rules with the rule of celibacy. If you wish, you can right here enjoy wealth and make merit, or return to your relatives and families, and I may give you away to any man you like. So what's going on here? He frees his wife. Okay. Now, of course, in modern ways, you might say this is divorce, isn't it? But you've got to see this in context. I don't think there is this idea of divorce in the Buddha's time, but here, because in the Buddha's time, in ancient religious time of this kind of situation, when women are chattel, they actually belong to the man, and the husband is called Lord. See? So here, basically, what Uga is doing, he's telling the woman, you're free now. He's telling his wife, you're free now. You can do what you like. You can stay on as part of the family, enjoy the wealth that he has, and make marriage. Or you can go back to your relatives. Or there's a third choice. You can remarry if you want. So this is amazing. He's basically setting the women free. He says, you owe me nothing now. You're free to go. Because I'm no more the marrying kind, basically. Right? Then 7.4, when this was said, Bhante, the eldest of the lordly wives said this to me, young sir. So notice he calls Uga young sir, so we're talking about young man here. Give me to such and such a man. So he said, okay, I want to remarry. Okay, right. So this is, then Uga says, then Bhante, I sent for that man, and with my left hand I held the lordly wife and held a golden vase, dedicated her to that man. So this is the ritual of giving, by pouring water onto the hand of the person you're giving away. Right? So this pouring of water means giving away. So even today in the Buddhist culture, when you pour water, you dedicate merits to other beings, to the deceased. Then Bhante, 7.6. Now Bhante, as I was giving away the young woman, I do not recall any change of heart. So here he's saying, I'm very calm, I know what I'm doing, I have set the women free. This, Bhante, is the third wonderful and marvelous quality of mind. So number 3 here, in other words, he's renouncing the family, like what Siddhartha did, leaving the palace. Here he's giving his family, the wives rather. Okay. Now he's still a layman, by the way. So here, in a sense, the other women, his family, are still living with him, but he's a different person now. His lifestyle is going to be different. A bit here we have very similar to Gatikara, in other words. So this kind of sutta is telling us it is still possible for a layman who is a non-returner, one step short of an arahat, is able to live at home, but his lifestyle will be different. Section 8, that is quality number 4. My family, Bhante, is wealthy, and we freely share our wealth with the morally virtuous of good character. All right. So here he says, well, since we have money, we help all the good people. We practice charity. I wrote something about this recently in one of my translations. In one of the suttas, I say that if you're a layman, then your task is to work hard. If you can, accumulate great wealth. And if you have great wealth, you can do great merit by bringing the Dharma to others, by educating people. When you educate people, you prepare them for the true teachings. People are lost because of lack of education. Then they are unable to read good stuff. They are more superstitious. They are not informed of what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. So if you are wealthy, you can start education programs, support poor family members to study something good and useful, start Buddhist training centers, things like that. So this is an example here. I also mentioned in this introduction to one of the sutta translations, I say, if you are wealthy but you are selfish and you use your wealth wrongly, then that wealth is a symptom of inner poverty. So it's not a good thing. You're not really rich at all. You have a lot of things. You're enjoying good karma, but to wrong ends. And that's as good as bad karma. Okay? You won't be really happy. You're going to have bad kind of friends. You're creating bad karma, and you will lose your wealth very soon anyway. So here is Uga saying, well, I'm wealthy, I'm using my wealth, for this morally virtuous of good character, not just giving to anyone, good people. Then the 9, that's a 5th quality. Whenever I, Bhante, attend to a monk, I do so with respectful care, not carelessly. If the Venerable teaches me Dhamma, I will listen with every respectful care, not carelessly, in other words, attentively. Notice this, if the monk teaches. 9.2, if the Venerable One does not teach Dhamma, I will teach him Dhamma. Okay, so this is very interesting. It's Dhamma either way, all right? This, Bhante, is the 5th wonderful and marvelous quality of mind. Now, how many lay people do that? You meet a monk, either the monk says, Bhante, would you like to teach me Dhamma? If not, then I'll teach you Dhamma. Okay. Perhaps the monk might say, I know so little. Say, okay, let me take one of the Asti Suttas and shall we study it, something like that. All right, now the next quality. Now, this one is a bit kind of technical, it's a bit deep. The 6th quality. It is not strange at all, Bhante, that when the Sangha has been invited by me, deities would approach me saying, House Lord, such and such a monk is liberated both ways. So this is the Arahat, full-fledged Arahat. Okay? Such and such a monk is wisdom liberated. So in other words, this monk doesn't do much. He doesn't have formless meditation. His meditation is very basic. As an Arahat. Such and such a monk is a body witness. He's able to attain jhanas. Such and such a monk is a view attained. So this is kind of his liberation is through wisdom. Such a monk is a faith liberated. So it is through faith that he attains his liberation, his attainment. Then next to you have a pair. Such a monk is a truth follower. Such and such a monk is a faith follower. These are the 2 kinds of streamliness, either through wisdom or through faith. Then such a monk is morally virtuous and good in character. And the last one is very interesting. It's not really a part of the category, but it's kind of, he's there in the congregation of where the Ugas are making an offering. And such a monk is immoral and bad in character. Yet, when I am serving the Sangha, I do not recall it ever occurring to my mind thus, let me give this one little, let me give this one much. Rather, Bhante, I give with just the same heart. This, Bhante, is the 6th wonderful and marvelous quality of mind. Now, this is a bit, needs some explanation, okay? Otherwise, it might be misconstrued that it's okay to be a bad monk. No, this is not what the sutta is about. This is about the same-mindedness, the equanimity of this great saint, a layman saint called Uga. He says, well, when the Sangha is assembled, it is a Sangha. Okay? the conventional Sangha. So there are all kinds of arahats, the various stages of attainment here, from the best to the not so, to the beginner saint, and to the bad monks. They're all present there. Well, you see them, you won't know. See? But here, apparently the Deva is able to read the minds of the monks. But Uga would give them all the same meal. Okay? In other words, he doesn't publicly embarrass the monks, say, you're a bad monk, I'm giving you less. He doesn't say that. Why does he do this, you might ask? One reason is, of course, to inspire this bad monk, to show this bad monk that, look, you're receiving all this food just like the good monk. Why don't you be good yourself? Then you'll be truly worthy of all this meal, just like the other great saints. And you can't always be bad. You'll be discovered sooner or later, basically. If this person were to be expelled or what, then you find that his chances of becoming good is much less, so to speak. So this is in the sense, the compassion of the Buddha, where even a bad monk stays in the Sangha, he has a chance to become better, in other words. Of course, this is assuming that you have this Nisaya, training, good teachers, and so on. There is a story here, I was told. I don't think it's from the suttas, but it's from one of those Sinhalese lay people. He told me a version of another kind of like a follow-up to this story. So it says that, okay, all these monks assembled, good monks, bad monks, and this layman gave everyone equally. So this bad monk thought, here's this lay person from whom I can get anything I want. Okay, since he has so much faith, he probably is gullible, So he came alone. This bad monk came alone to this lay devotee. But the lay devotee did nothing. He says, nope, sorry, I can't give you anything. So this man said, but how come when I was with all these other monks, you offered me all this great stuff, and now you don't offer me anything? He said, because you're a bad monk, and you have come by yourself, so I'm not giving you. But you come as a Sangha, it's different, because remember, you are part of this bigger community of good monks. So you must remember that it's on account of the goodness of the Sangha that you receive these blessings. So that was a kind of very interesting lesson for this bad monk. Okay? All right, so let's go on now. Now we come to number 7. 11, that is character or quality number 7. It is not strange at all, Bhante, that the deities approach me and report, well-taught house lord is the Blessed One's Dharma. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. Bhante, when the deities say thus to me, this is what I say to them. Whether you deities were to tell me so or not, still well-taught is the Blessed One's Dharma. I do not, Bhante, recall any haughtiness of heart on that account, that the deities approached me, or that I converse with the deities. This, Bhante, is a 7th wonderful and marvelous quality of mind. So here he's saying that when the devas come and say, the Buddha's teaching is so wonderful, I don't get upset. I don't look down on them. I don't feel arrogant or anything like that. I'm calm and happy, and basically I say, yes, I know the Dharma is wonderful. Sometimes we see people, we say, this person doesn't know Dhamma, I know better, so we're measuring. See? So here you already have a good hint that this Uga has attained quite high level, right? So that's number 7. Now comes the last one, section 12. This is quality number 8. If I were to pass away before the Blessed One, it would not be surprising that he would say this of me. There is no fetter by which Uga, the house lord of Hatigama, is fettered that would bring him back to this world. This, Bhante, is the eighth wonderful and marvelous quality of mind. Okay, this is the one. From this, we know that he is a non-returner, right? So he's not going to come back to this world. Okay, so these are the 8 things. And then Uga tells the monk, 12.3, but Bhante, I do not know what the 8 wonderful and marvelous qualities that the Blessed One has declared that have been accomplished by me. So now, what's happening here is it's like a ball game. So Uga is telling the monk, you got to go back to the Buddha. So it's kind of, the monk goes back and forth, in order to learn. So he goes back to the monk. Then the monk, taking his arms full, rose from his seat, departed from Uga, the house lord of Hatigama's house. All right, notice here, apparently here, Uga offers him food and he brings it back to the monastery to eat. Then the monk, having returned from his alms round after his meal, approached the Blessed One, saluted him and sat down at one side. Sitting thus at one side, the monk reported the whole conversation that he just had with Uga, the house lord of Hatigama. Then the Buddha says, Sadhu, Sadhu, Bhikshu, Uga, the house lord of Hatigama, in explaining rightly, would explain what is true. These are the very same 8 wonderful and marvelous qualities of Uga, the house lord of Hatigama, that have been declared by me. And so remember, Bhikshus, that Uga, the house lord of Hatigama, is accomplished in these 8 wonderful and marvelous qualities. Just cancel that the in front of Uga, gets extra. So basically here the Buddha says, yep, exactly, these are the 8 things I was thinking about. And so you see here, the mind of the Buddha, the mind of the non-returner are the same in terms of these 8 qualities. So there you are. So we can see this a beautiful story about 8 qualities showing how Uga started from the start of his spiritual life, how he converted, and then how he listened to the Dharma, how he became a streamwinner, and then a non-returner. We're not told how exactly when he became a non-returner, but definitely from this, by the time he gave these 8 qualities, he's already a non-returner. Notice here, it's with amazing ease how he attains awakening, because he meets the Buddha. Right? So this is what we're saying here is, if you prepare well yourself, listening to the Dharma, studying the suttas, you see this wonderful change inside you. Somehow you find you don't need so much things, you don't need so many people, you're just happy the way you are. And the time comes when you can share these teachings with others too and make them happy also. Especially when people are in difficulties, they come to you, they seek advice, then you find there's something worthwhile, something helpful, something healing you can tell them. If you do not know the Dharma, then how can you help these people in an effective way, right? So we're talking about effective compassion, right? Loving and effective compassion. So that's how useful the sutta can be. So do reflect on the life of this layman who is a non-returner. It's a wonderful story which we should inspire our own lives. Okay, just nice. Is that the timing? Any questions? Well, only 3 more lessons and we are finished with this volume. Yeah?
Was there any other follow-up about Uga's development? Any other follow-ups?
Not that I know of. I don't think there is a follow-up. If anything, it would be in the introduction. I would normally list the related suttas and stories about him. If you can, you can read up about him. Look for Uga Hatigamaka in the Dictionary of Pali Proper Names. This is a huge volume, and you can download them quite easily online. If you cannot get them, just email me, or right now we'll send it to you. Yeah, there's a very easy to use version, and you just click, it's all there. It's a wonderful book to read also. It's one of the earliest books that I first encountered when I was a young boy. I was so excited about it. I felt like typing the whole book. Can you imagine? I never thought photocopying. I wanted to type it everything. No, I didn't. I thought of doing it. I mean, it's huge, 2 volumes. So you can look in the Uga. You have 2 Ugas at least there. But the thing is, he has reached the end of his journey. He's already a non-returner, So that's, wow, for a layman, that's advanced. It's a matter of not very long. He will attain arahathood. He dies, he'll be reborn in the pure abodes. Yeah. But even life in the pure abodes can be quite long, very long time. But they live happily. Of course, we say, it's difficult to imagine all these things. But if you look at some of those space fiction stories, all those alien beings, you find that there are many such beings whose lifespans are very long. So, in other words, we're talking about a different time scale, different kind of level of being. So, these are some possibilities which the Buddha is talking about. Okay? Anything else? Any comment? Yeah?
Pali canon being put into, scan and all that, and you can use search engine and search now.
Oh, yes. There is one called CSCD. CSCD, you can also download it. Yeah? CSCD, yeah. CSCD Chatta Sangayana, that means 6th Council, CD. Okay? But normally we just remember CSCD. This is done by the VRI, Vipassana Research Institute. Again, you type CSCD or VRI or Vipassana Research Institute, you can download it also. This is the easiest to use. The moment you click open, then there is a search engine there. There also is a small dictionary there. The whole Tipitaka with Abhidhamma and other works are all there. But this is the gift of the Burmese Buddhists to us. This is the easiest to use. Okay. So I used this one. I used the Burmese Tipitaka, the book itself, in PDF. Then I used the Buddha Jayanti Tipitaka. There's a Sinhalese version. Then I used the Siamese version, and I used the Western, the Pali Text Society version. So I used at least 4 versions, and I checked them all at the same time. And the most difficult to use is the Siamese one, because they put everything in one line. For some reason, they did not indent it, so that was a bit difficult. The newer books, yeah, they indent it, but the newer books are difficult to get. In fact, they do it very nicely. You got to go to Thailand to get them.
Then your own SD, is this also put into the search engine? Has it?
Yes, you can search also in our website. Yeah, possible. There is a little, what do you call that, slot there. You just type in the word you want, and it will lead you to that particular SD. Or you can look at SD number. You click it, you also will get that file. But if you want the latest one that I'm still working on, and maybe I've just finished but not uploaded, you can email us, we'll send it to you. Okay? Yeah, it's all there. In fact, it's so easy to study suttas nowadays. Of course, I've not translated all the suttas, but the main ones that you need to study are all available. It's quite enough for us to start with. Yeah.
So if you take the whole Tipitaka, how many percent are you now translated?
At least 30%, maybe 40%. Those are the main suttas. Why I say 30-40%? Because I don't include Abhidhamma and commentaries, So most of the Digha Nikaya, most of the Majjhima Nikaya, about 1/3 of the Sangyutta, about 1/4 of the Anguttara, I think. Because there are lots of reputation also, by the way. So I don't translate reputations unless there is a good reason for it. Sometimes there are apparent reputations, but one version, the Buddha is speaking, the Buddha himself tells a story. Another one, it is reported. So that's just to show you the different styles that the ancient sutta reciters record the teachings. Right? So if they're mere repetition, of course, there's no point in translating them again. We just say, okay, this number is the same, this Anguttara version is the same as this Sangyutta version. So I would say the key suttas are all available for enough for study. Sometimes people ask me, so I just take a note, then maybe I will translate them if they want it, So it's up to them. Depends on the request also. So every 3 months you get at least maybe 10 to 20 suttas. Yeah. Remember, we have now a total of 16 years of sutta translation, 10,000 pages. So imagine there's quite a lot of suttas, and with commentaries. That is why it's 10,000 pages. And that's why it's taking a long time, because it's very detailed commentary. In fact, this SD has got the most detailed commentary, modern commentary. Okay, so if not, we'll end here then. Yeah? Let us close with a short reflection. The life of the great saints, whether they are monastic or lay people, always inspire us because they have gone through a lot of difficulties. But in the case of Ugga, he was enjoying himself in a worldly way. But when he met the Buddha, just seeing the Buddha make him realize there is a higher peace. So here we see in the life of Ugga, he was enjoying very good karma that brought him all the worldly pleasures. But when he saw the Buddha, the good karma that he has been building up in the past ripened, and right away his intoxication disappeared, and he became a disciple of the Buddha, a streamer and then a non-returner. This is a very inspiring life of this wonderful great disciple, which should remind us that even as we are as lay people, we can attain deep levels of happiness even here and now, and continue as lay people doing our work and studying and spreading the Dhamma for the benefit of others. By the truth of all these words, by the truth of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, may we be blessed with great joy and happiness and health and wisdom, so that we will be blessed with the wisdom and courage to attain stream winning in this life itself. By the same token, by the power of the three jewels, let us send out our loving kindness to all our loved ones, to other people we care for, and people who care for us. May they be well and happy. To all our friends and relatives too, and all the people here who've been kind to us, to let us use this place for our study. And to all those seeking the Dhamma, practicing, that they may realize the truth in this life itself. And to those who have difficulties, those who are lost, those who are unable to see the true teaching, may they realize the Buddha's true teaching in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.